Hello, everybody, and welcome to the August 2023 edition of Let's Talk. Your regularly scheduled monthly updates are back, although I missed last month on purpose because I said that's exactly what I was going to do, but now that we are hovering around my original estimate for when recorded content was supposed to come back, I figured now's a good time to give you guys an update on how everything's looking. There's a little bit to talk about today, and we're going to go over each thing step by step, but this shouldn't be too long of an update in the grand scheme of things. So first things first, I'm going to give you guys an update on how the whole PC situation is looking, getting myself a replacement and all that, and it's going both kind of good and also kind of not good. As is the case with any emergency financial situation, especially for something that doesn't take priority like my channel, given that it's a hobby and not a source of income. Yeah, things get in the way sometimes, and not everything goes exactly as smoothly as you want it to, so that's been part of the problem, but I'm also going to cop to the fact that I decided to take a bit of a different approach, behind the scenes, actually, without really telling anybody, and not that it was necessarily a huge thing to talk about, but my original plan when I released that emergency update was, okay, I'm going to basically just do the bare minimum. I'm going to try to get a PC that's just good enough, certainly better than that archaic dinosaur that broke down that I've been using for the past 10 years, but also not a PC that's going to be able to do anything super high-end, not going to be able to really make any advances for the channel. And the more I was thinking about it, the more I was like, look, I'm already going to be putting down four figures on this PC. I'm already going to be going into the thousands in my budget range. Why not put a little extra money down on this thing? Why not go for broke, as it were, and try to get something a bit better, something that's going to allow me to actually improve the quality of my videos on this channel, allow me to upload in 4K, allow me to edit a lot more easily and a lot more efficiently, allow me to do a bit more with my audio and make my videos just overall better. That would be nice, and I would probably need a better PC to do that. Now, the thing that you guys need to know about a proper video editing, especially when it comes to capturing gameplay with a capture card and things of that nature, certain PCs get the job done better than others. There are certain things you need to look for that you don't necessarily want to look for in like a gaming PC, for instance. There are some things that very much matter to a gaming PC and very much matter to an editing PC, but there can be a bit of overlap. Now, if I was purely doing video editing, I would want more of a workstation, and those can be extremely expensive rigs that I am not going to shell out, $5-6 grand to have, because that's not necessarily all this channel is about. It's also about gaming, and I kind of need to find a happy medium that allows me to do a bit of both. And something I would very much like to do is actually go all in on PC gaming, something that I really have never done in this channel's lifespan. I mean, the most modern, advanced, and I say this with heavy quotations, PC game that I have ever covered on this channel was Fallout 4, and that was only in the Brotherhood of Steel playthrough that we did last year. I recorded that entire thing on PC. That's it. I mean, other than that, I've only covered some really old PC games like the Neverhood that, frick, something with 128 megabytes of RAM could run no problem. It's not something that's ever really been a priority on this channel, so it would be nice to shift that a little bit, and then I can give you guys much better looking games as well on top of everything else. So I'm saving up a bit more. I've raised my budget quite a bit more. I'm also looking to actually do a build this time, and I've already got some of the parts, but not all the parts that I need. Long story short, not to give you guys too many details on everything, but long story short is that it's probably not looking like this month is when I'm going to be able to get that PC. In fact, next month might be pushing it. My most optimistic estimate is the last week or so of September to get back into the swing of things, and the most realistic estimate is like middle of October. So that leaves us with the current video series, Pokemon White, Horizon Forbidden West, and Mario Party, and the fact that only one of those will still be around come that time. Horizon Forbidden West, in fact, ends on Wednesday, the 16th. Yeah, so I don't have anything beyond the credits roll recorded on that one. I was hoping to get back around to it after I had caught up. Obviously, the PC broke down in the middle of doing that, and therefore I have an entire expansion that I still have left to record. But at least we made it till the credits roll on that one, and again, ends on Wednesday. Mario Party, that ends on Saturday, September 2nd. Replacing that might be a possibility, and I'll talk about that towards the end of this video, but right now, there is a chance that I would be able to replace that with something minor, something that's not something I was planning on covering for many years from now, but I'm going to be expediting just because well, there is a very limited number of things that I can actually record at the moment with this little laptop that I've been using that has really been struggling to do its job, by the way. I should mention that. Just editing those Pokemon White episodes has been a nightmare. Just getting them out at a decent quality has been a nightmare because, man, this laptop is not built for editing and rendering that sort of stuff at all, but I digress. Speaking of Pokemon White, I should have more than enough videos to get us through September, well into October, possibly even into November, but I'm hoping by that point, once credits roll on that game, that we'll be able to jump into Poke Park 2, as I said before, is the plan, and then get back to the Pokemon White endgame after the fact. So that's how everything's looking. Yeah, September, October, Pokemon White's probably going to be the only thing left, except for, well, you know what? I think I'll actually just talk about that now. I was thinking about saving that towards the end, but the more I look at what I have to talk about, the less it makes sense to save that for the end. So I've been putting together some changes to the schedule and whatnot and going over what Let's Plays I'm going to be covering. And I always keep a list of this stuff, and I've talked about this in the past. But there are a few games, a very, very select few games on my big list of Let's Plays to do that I could actually feasibly record right now. Almost every single one of those is stuff that needs to be emulated. There are a couple of PC games that I could probably make happen, older PC games. And I'm thinking about taking one or two of the games on that list and just recording those in full here in the next couple of weeks. And then hopefully I can have at least a few more videos going through September. I would like to at least have 4 uploads a week every single week. I don't want to dip below that standard if possible. Even if those are Let's Plays that I might not necessarily be prepared to do yet, I would still like to have those and hopefully have a little bit more than just Pokemon going on this channel. As much as I know that that is one of the most popular series on the channel right now, I would very much like to have a bit more than that going. So we'll see, but in the next couple of weeks, I hope to put together a couple of small-time series just to sort of pass the time while we continue to slowly struggle along to getting this big PC put together where I can actually make better content. Now, on that note, I want to talk about the upload schedule that has been going for the past year and a half, almost 2 years now. And as much fun as I have been having, as great as this has all been, and as much as I would love to continuously upload 2 times a day every single day, it's just not something that's completely feasible. And I've known this, I've always known this, but I've still tried to maintain this regardless. But doing that much, trying to record that much content, edit that much content, and all for the sake of a hobby is just, it's a little draining. I'm not going to lie. It's a little draining. It's also just not a very smart idea trying to upload that often all the time, especially in modern day YouTube. Maybe back in the day, that would make more sense. And as much as the whole branding of this channel is meant to be like early 2010s YouTube, I still don't need to burn myself out on making that much content at any given time. So I want to streamline and simplify the upload schedule just a bit more. And I know it's still confusing for some people, even though it has been consistent this past year and a half. I mean, Let's Plays will drop in and out of time slots, but what goes in those time slots has never changed. That's never changed. And for the most part, I still want to keep the same skeleton of that schedule in place, but I am going to be shifting a couple of things around a bit so that I no longer have evening uploads outside of one particular upload time, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. So my plan is, once I get the new PC, is to just go gung-ho into recording a whole bunch of stuff. I want to get back on track. I would like to have pretty much every series at least recorded somewhat so that we can just jump back in. We'll find a week and we'll just jump back in and go right back to where we were at after these few months of taking things easy, of running on a skeleton crew, essentially. And the main and intended goal is to keep the same structure that we already have. So as of right now, I group each Let's Play, each series that I'm doing, into a different tier of importance, essentially. The Pokemon Let's Play is kind of its own thing. But there's always a primary Let's Play that I'm doing on the channel, a secondary Let's Play, a tertiary Let's Play, and then everything else kind of falls underneath that. And those are usually the things that I'm uploading in the evenings. Even the tertiary Let's Play is usually going in the evenings. Originally, how the schedule worked was Sunday and Wednesday were for the primary Let's Play. Monday and Thursday are for the Pokemon Let's Play. Tuesday and Saturday were for the secondary Let's Play, and then Friday was the variety content. Everything else went into the evenings. I still want to keep with the theme, to keep with the structure of having 4 simultaneous Let's Plays / series playthroughs going at any given time, and I still want to be uploading weekly variety content. That's not going to change. But I want to eliminate evenings almost entirely. There is one exception, but that's not going to happen for a while. It's just something that's in the back of my mind that I might do someday. But as of right now, I want to just have one upload every single day at the usual time in the afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Time, as I always have done. Sundays and Wednesdays would continue to be the primary Let's Play, which as of late has been Horizon Forbidden West. It's always the game that's usually taking the most time. It's the most of my focus. It's the one that I have the most knowledge of. It's the one that I'm putting most of my effort into because it's the game that, at the moment, I care the most about covering. So examples of this have been Subnautica, when I first started this new schedule implementation. Then it was Horizon Forbidden West, which has been going for the past year and a half. And as I've said before, the next one is supposed to be Destiny. So that's a good example of what the primary Let's Play entails. Monday and Thursdays, I want to keep those Pokemon episodes. I want Pokemon to have a prevalent place on this channel. 2 uploads a week feels the best to me. It seems like it takes a pretty good chunk out of what we're doing on a given week. We'll talk about the lengths of what these episodes are in a minute, but just to keep things simple, Sunday and Wednesday, primary Let's Play. Monday and Thursday, Pokemon Let's Play. That's not changing. Tuesday is going to continue to be the day for the secondary Let's Play, but just Tuesday. I'm not going to give it to Saturday anymore. Saturday is going to be its own thing. Tuesday is where the secondary series goes. A very good example of this would be like last year's Forza Horizon 3, which pretty much ran all of last year, and the upcoming Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which was originally supposed to start this month until the unfortunate snag happened. Usually a Let's Play that I have been very much meaning to get around to, but I'm not giving quite as much priority. That's what's going to go in this time slot. Fridays, okay? We've already covered Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday, that's still going to be variety content. Saturday is going to be the final 4th playthrough, the one that's not Pokemon, not the main or secondary Let's Play. This is usually going to be the ones that I just kind of throw out there for fun. Very good example of this is, right now, Mario Party. That's usually 3rd in line. That's the one that I'm giving the least amount of attention to. This one would fall underneath Shadow of the Tomb Raider in importance had I actually gotten that series out in time, but this is usually where episodes are going to go on Saturday, and the main reason I want to put the least priority series on Saturday is because Saturday is also the day I am considering throwing in an evening slot. So that way there would be another upload that day to sort of supplement it in importance. So just to recap, Sunday, primary Let's Play. Monday, Pokemon. Tuesday, secondary Let's Play. Wednesday, primary Let's Play. Thursday, Pokemon Let's Play. Friday, variety. Saturday, tertiary Let's Play. That's it. Hopefully that is simple enough to understand, and that's where I would like to keep things for the foreseeable future. Of course, until I change my mind again, because I am very prone to do that, but I really hope that this is it. That should be more than enough. Now, as for the lengths of these episodes, that's where things get a little bit more tricky, and I've been floating some ideas around. My primary Let's Play episodes are usually on the long side, but this is obviously game dependent. It depends on what we're actually doing in a given video. When I cover open world games, these are pretty hard to keep under 30 minutes just because of how much you need to do to actually make progress in your general open world game. This is why the Horizon Forbidden West episodes are so long. But when I look at the likes of Destiny, which is mission-based, and sometimes those can amount to 30, 40, 50, even hour-long affairs. More often than not, those are going to be 10 to 15 minutes tops, just because of the way that that game is structured. So it really depends on what game we're getting, but other than that, I can't really give a definitive answer on how long those videos are supposed to be. The primary Let's Play just kind of works at its own pace. It works based on what the game allows me to do to make the Let's Play feel coherent and like it's working at a good cadence, so can't really say much about that. Pokemon, I try to keep around 20 minutes. I know I have been incredibly inconsistent with Pokemon White. That's because I didn't have a timer. beside me as I was going episode to episode, but I don't think I've made a single episode shorter than 15 minutes, and I've only made a very small handful that have been over 25, and most of those I overshot, mainly due to the lengths of the bios in those episodes. When I'm recording those Pokemon White episodes, I wasn't taking into consideration how long the Pokemon bio segments were going to be, and sometimes those went for 3, 4, 5 minutes, which really lengthened those episodes more than I meant them to. And so I apologize for that, but generally 20 minutes, give or take 5, is what you can expect with a Pokemon Let's Play. With the likes of like Poke Park 2, 15 minutes actually sounds even more acceptable. For my secondary and tertiary Let's Plays, though, as well as variety content, given that all of these are only once a week, this is where I'm going to be more willing to make longer episodes. In fact, I would very much like to make it the norm, unless we're playing extremely short games, I would like to make it the norm that most of these episodes push around 30 minutes, if not longer. Specifically with variety content. Variety content in general, I'm willing to go up to an hour, just because that's all the time I'm ever going to be giving that game, except for in incredibly rare circumstances where I'm like, no, I am going to make a series out of this. More often than not, I want to just look at that game in that one instance. So 40 minutes, 50 minutes, an hour, even longer than that feels acceptable when that's the only time we're ever going to give this game on the channel. So those will be a bit longer, but as far as the secondary and tertiary Let's Plays, 30 minutes. It feels pretty much perfect. And that's even going to apply to future Mario parties, as simple as it was to make each of these episodes 10 to 15 minutes, 4 episodes per board, sometimes 3 episodes per board. It's probably going to be 2 episodes per board in all future Mario Party series from here on out. So something to keep in mind. But hopefully that gives you guys a good idea of what to expect with the schedule once things are back to normal. Now, last thing I want to discuss is social media. And to an extent, I also want to talk about branding for a minute. And as far as this channel is concerned. So if you haven't been paying attention, which, I mean, if you haven't at least noticed this tangentially, I don't know how you've been missing it all. Twitter has gone to Xitter, spelled Xitter, by the way. Twitter is a total dumpster fire now and has been driven to the ground very slowly, I might add. It's taken over a year to get to this point, but it's pretty awful now. And I mention this because Twitter has always been my sole means of external communication outside of this YouTube channel. It's really been the only way that I've been able to say, hey, I've uploaded a video, hey, some changes are coming to the channel, in a way that goes beyond these Let's Talks, for instance. Now that I'm making these monthly update videos, it makes it a little bit more easy for me to not use Twitter. And with the way that website is now, it would be awesome if I genuinely never had to touch that thing again. I would love to just leave it entirely, honestly. Completely in spite of my following that I have on there. And that's not to say that I want to abandon the people that I am in touch with there. Absolutely not. No. In fact, that is still one of the only ways that I'm able to communicate with a lot of people. A lot of the people that I have been longtime friends with, especially within this YouTube space, is through Twitter. And so I like to keep myself logged into that thing so that people can access me through DMs. And I don't want to change that necessarily. I'm still going to keep the account up. I'm not going to completely delete it. But I want to remove entirely the idea that I'm ever going to use that account for anything but direct messaging through people who still use the website ever again. I don't want that to be a place where people can go to get news anymore. I would like to have another way of doing that. And something I've really never used on YouTube is the community features on here, and I need to get better about doing that. That's definitely an option, but it's not my only option at the moment. I'm kind of just trying to figure things out at the moment. Basically, what I'm trying to get across here is that I'm not using social media anymore. YouTube is the only social media that I'm using anymore. I won't be touching that account ever again outside of responding to messages to me. And Twitter is a dumpster fire, and that's pretty much the extent of it. Now, it's funny because one thing I've always really wanted to do with this channel ever since the very beginning, and it definitely made a whole lot more sense back then than it does now, is to make a website. I really would like to be able to put everything that I've done on this channel up on a website so it can be archived forever. I know that's not a very simple thing to do. That would take a lot of time, and it's certainly not time that I have right now, but the end goal is eventually to get to that point where I can just put everything up there, hopefully without the crutch of needing the YouTube player to actually make all that work. I would like to be able to have all those videos up there just kind of on their own so that people can watch those Let's Plays that way, because that kind of fits on brand with what this channel is. And I've been getting more comments about that lately. A lot of comments, in fact. This last year, I have been almost flooded with comments from people who have had exactly one of two sentiments. And both of them are positive, but they're a little bit different. One is more confused and one is a bit more nostalgic. The first sentiment is more along the lines of, these videos are nice, but what is the point of these things? I genuinely don't even really know what a Let's Play is. I just came here looking for clips from my favorite game and happened to find this channel. The second sentiment is, wow, I haven't seen a channel like yours since let's say like 13, 12, 11, around that time period. And it's amazing that you're still trying to make Let's Plays like this, and it's sad that this trend died, and yada, yada, yada. Fact of the matter is, this is a Let's Play channel. It is a Let's Play channel in the truest sense. I have never wanted to stray away from that mission, and I'm not about to give you guys the entire spiel on why I do this again, because I've already done that many times in the past. I'm not going to sit here and explain why I make Let's Plays or any of that. I just want to make it clear that this is supposed to be a channel very much in the same vein as the early 2010s. It is supposed to be a video Let's Play channel because, well, that's what it started as, and that's what it will forever be. I don't want to deviate from the mission much because Let's Plays are, to me, kind of ubiquitous. I mean, like, I know that they have fallen out of popularity a bit, but that doesn't mean they aren't still heavily viewed. That doesn't mean people still don't like them. I mean, have you seen how many views Chugga Conroy pulls to this day? He's doing great for himself, and he's certainly not the only one. Yeah, there are even more popular Let's Players that have sort of evolved their content to be Let's Play-like, but have, you know, changed it, obviously, to be a bit more entertaining, a bit more reactionary, or they've just completely shifted to live streaming altogether. I get that that's all a thing, but the essence of Let's Plays is ubiquitous. It's something that still works to this day, and it's a very old concept, much older than YouTube, as a matter of fact. And in fact, you can find instances of Let's Playing on the internet that goes all the way back to the late 90s on forums, and a lot of that was more text and image-based than it was video commentary-based, but Let's Plays stand the test of time. They're not always going to be the most popular thing, but they work. They still are something that people enjoy. They're still something people watch. My own views, for as small as they are, prove that. And I've always ran this channel with the idea of long-term success in mind. Not to say that, you know, I'm talking about success in the monetary sense. I'm talking about these Let's Plays reaching a wider audience, that they go out to the masses. Something that has always been the case on this channel is that my immediate viewership is very, very low. I usually only get a dozen views, almost at best, on each video within the day that it comes out, even on some of my best series. I rarely get more than 20, 30 views on a video that day. By the end of the week, I'll maybe have like 50, 60, very, very rarely like 100. However, most of my successful Let's Plays have achieved that success years after the fact. I mean, I've named a lot of the bigger ones already, like my Medal of Honor Let's Plays, my Midnight Club Let's Play, and there's a couple of others as well that have introduced people to the channel. But there's a lot more than that. A lot of series that you probably would never guess that are actually somewhat popular if you go look them up. And I've actually pulled in hundreds to even thousands of views just a long time after the fact. Sometimes the YouTube algorithm just works that way. People will look at things within the vein, they'll get nostalgic for a game, they want to go back to it, and then boom, it's right at the top of the search algorithm. I mean, I know my Super Monkey Ball 2 episodes, one of the oldest Let's Plays I ever did, still is right at the top of the YouTube search algorithm when you look it up. And I mean, I have these weird, innocuous Let's Plays that do really well. I did the entire Uncharted series, 1, 2, 3, 4, and The Lost Legacy. Only Uncharted 2 actually pulls in a lot of views, and 3 does pretty well for itself. But Uncharted 1, 4, and Lost Legacy are kind of left in the dust. But you know what? Someday they might make it big. None of that matters because I make my Let's Plays with the idea of binge-watching them in mind. I'm not trying to pull in the views right now. I just want these Let's Plays for something for people to enjoy. I just want people to be able to find them and to just have them, and I may be naively banking on the idea that YouTube gives a shit about archival and placing a little bit too much hope in that, because who knows, someday YouTube could just go bankrupt and we could lose all of this forever, and that would suck. But as of right now, it seems to be working so far. YouTube is a bit monopolistic, and in a way that is kind of working in my favor for this entire mission. So yeah, I don't want to ever change that. I want to keep the idea that this is a Let's Play channel intact, and with that comes the branding. The Squirtle King. It's a bit of a silly name. I am very well aware of that. I cannot tell you how many times over the years I have wanted and have thought about changing that name. And you know what? I think I may be closer to that idea now than I ever have been before. But it really comes down to how I do that, how I go about doing that. Especially when I have so many videos out there that I would then need to contextualize by explaining exactly where the channel was at the time of making it, because what is up, my Squirtleites? It's such a lame intro. And you know what? Again, the corniness is part of the joke. I've always wanted that to be a thing. It's why I've never really... I've tried to just never think twice about it too much. And that's because it's a very early 2010s Let's Play style name. I mean, I can't tell you how many Let's Play channels I followed that have long died. You know, 7, 8 years ago was when they last uploaded a video that just had a Pokemon in the name and then random phrases around it. I'm not going to name any in particular because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but so freaking many, and I just kind of followed the crowd at the time. I just kind of did what everybody else was doing, or tried to at least be similar to what everyone else was doing at the time. I could certainly shorten it down to just The King, or make it something really boring like Levi Plays, but that doesn't have a whole lot of identity to it, so I really need to like mull that over, or I could just lean into it harder. You know what? I could absolutely just go ham on the idea, go full force into it, and just make it even more a part of the identity of this channel, which, you know what, that sounds like a great idea too. So I want to clarify that for anybody who is curious as to what the heck this is all about. What is the idea here? This channel is 12 years out of date. And that is the point. That is absolutely the point. Not necessarily in the video quality, but in terms of what I want this channel to look like. I want it to feel like an early 2010s YouTube channel. I don't ever want that idea or image to go away, because in a way that was a golden age of Let's Plays. It really was. You had to be there for that, because it felt like anybody and everybody could make these and actually make it big at the time, because that was the trend. I mean, in that time period, YouTube really was only good for two things, and that was gaming videos and music. That's obviously since changed. There's so much more to YouTube now than there ever was, and as far as the health of the website is concerned, that's definitely a good thing. But back then, gaming and music were at the forefront of everything, even, you know, animation and whatnot. That was a big part of it too. A lot of those things have died down, have taken sort of a back seat. Everything's a bit more corporatized, but this channel's not, and that is the identity that I want to preserve until the very end. So, with all of that said, guys, thank you all so very much for watching, what little there is. Just hang in there a little bit longer. It's going to take a couple more months. This is just sort of a soft break, unfortunately. I can't wait to get back into the swing of things, but I'm taking the time right now while I can't to make some other things a priority. I'm trying to, you know, live other aspects of life and make other hobbies in the meantime, and I've been having a good time doing it. Some things I would really genuinely love to talk about later on in the future. But for right now, this is just a time to take it easy, just reset, give it a bit, and we will be back full force, because my goodness, do I have so many things to share with you guys once I'm able to record the way that I have always recorded on this channel, at least whenever I've had the time and the means to do it. With all that said, I will see you all in the next one.